In the Casey Anthony murder case, the mom accused of killing her precious toddler gets a 1-2 punch from a judge who says, no way, Jose, to dropping the defamation suit against Casey. To add insult to injury, the judge also ruled that Zenaida Gonzalez, the woman who says Casey ruined her life, can now seek punitive damages from the 23-year-old. Casey Anthony claimed a nanny named Zenaida Gonzalez kidnapped her daughter Kaylee, and the Zenaida who is suing says that cost her job. Authorities have never been able to prove that any nanny existed. Prosecutors consider it a total fiction. This ruling is a huge victory for the prosecution because those wildly confrontational civil depositions of George and Cindy might now be used in the criminal case.
I'm not going to answer anything about the criminal part of this thing. I'm not going to do that.
But you're going to have to.
All right, the bottom line is...
I have to do that, sir, when the criminal case comes up, not in a civil case.
You slandered me on TV.
Stop.
And you perjured yourself with this because she's not Fernandez. She didn't have a fight with me. Go there. Go ahead there, Mr. Morgan. She didn't fight with me, sir.
I have not heard my granddaughter's voice since June 16th of 2008. Do not ask me that again, sir, because I will walk out of here. Do not do that to me again.
Wild stuff. Casey Anthony has refused to even respond to the questions posed to her. Does this ruling mean Casey will finally have to answer those pointed questions? Especially question number 17. Were you involved in the death of Kaylee? Straight to my fantastic expert panel. We're really delighted to have tonight Keith Mitnick, the attorney for Zenaida Gonzalez, Drew Finling, Atlanta criminal defense attorney, Judy Kuriansky, Dr. Judy, clinical psychologist, and by phone, Rozzy Franco, reporter with WFLA Radio, and the one and only Stacey Honowitz, Florida State prosecutor. Stacey, we know this was a big win for Zenaida, but how big a win was it for prosecutors like you, except the ones in Casey's capital murder case?
Well, listen, this is a great victory for the civil end of it. And as far as the prosecutors are concerned, they were always going to be able to use anything inconsistent in those depositions by George and by Cindy. And certainly there are various questions that they were very inconsistent on that prosecutors will make sure to use in the criminal case. And certainly I'm sure these civil lawyers, and you can ask Keith, he's sitting up there right now, that they are very happy that this case did not get thrown out in court today.
Well, congratulations, Keith Mitnick. This was a big victory for your clients. How is Zenaida Gonzalez herself, as a human being, emotionally responding to this validation?
Healing. It's very healing for her.
Okay, short but sweet. Very healing for her. Anything else, sir?
Yeah, I mean, it's a day of justice for her and for the concept of justice, that you can't just pull these kind of awful things into public eye and destroy someone's reputation and try to escape with some technicality and duck justice. Not happening on her watch or my watch.
I think you raise a fascinating point, Dr. Judy Kuriansky. There is this righteous indignation by Cindy and George. How dare you question me? But the other side of that coin is that prosecutors believe that this was a total fiction. This whole idea of Zanny the nanny, that she was dropped off. One of the reasons this Zenaida got involved is that Casey originally said she had left the child with Zanny the nanny at the Sawgrass Apartments, which this Zenaida Gonzalez had signed up some form at that very apartment complex. That's how she got connected. So is the moral lesson here, if you lie, allegedly, it's not a victimless crime. You can unintentionally throw lots of people under the bus, even if you didn't intend to.
That's a great lesson for everyone that lying doesn't work at all. And I love what Zenaida Gonzalez's lawyer said. From a psychological point of view, it's so healing for the woman and for everyone to recognize that what they say has been the truth, because the opposite is not the truth. Casey has been buried a little bit more about this. What about the fact that she said that the Zanny the nanny was a 10? Remember Derek as a 10? And here, Zenaida Gonzalez, that we see her now, is not really a 10. So there we go as a proof of a lie.
All right, here's
how healing is it that by filing this civil suit, her name is getting mentioned even more than it ever would have? This would have been just another case where she would have been part of the criminal discovery. But by filing this civil case, it's completely hypocritical because her name is out there over and over and over again. It's not healing. It's just more litigation by civil lawyers that's with due respect to Keith, it's helping him in his practice, but it's really not helping this woman. It's not helping this woman at all.
Do you want to take a response to that?
Sure. I don't know who the gentleman is, but I would hope he wouldn't speak on behalf of my client. If his family or some loved one of his got accused of being a child kidnapper, I think he'd probably like to have it exonerated. Hold on a second. Don't interrupt me. Would like to be exonerated in the public eye. The fact that her name is being mentioned in an exonerating way is healing. That's all about her and the ability to change the public perception. And these kind of hearings do that. And believe it or not, sir, it matters to that lady.
It will happen when the criminal justice system takes its course, not when civil cases interfere with the course of criminal justice.
Would you have her
let me finish. No,
years for the criminal case?
All right, wait, hold on, guys. I got to get my gavel, but actually it's just a mirror. I've used it before. Okay, go ahead, Drew, for a second.
Okay, all right. If the criminal justice system will take care of it, and if every time there is some other dude did it defense in this country, we have civil suits, then the court system will shut down. The only reason this case is surviving, this civil case, is because of the national publicity.
But Drew,
the only reason this case is surviving is because it is righteous. And frankly, I don't care about shutting the system down for all of his criminal clients. I happen to care about my civil client whose name was raked through the mud.
All right, let's listen to more of the grilling of George Anthony and those emotionally charged depositions. It really sounded more like a dramatic stage play. Listen to this.
I'm not going to answer anything about the criminal part of this thing. I'm not going to do that.
But you're going to have to.
All right, the bottom line is...
I have to do that, sir, when the criminal case comes up. Not in a civil case, I do not.
I'm either going forward and doing my job, and I'm going to get questions and answers, and I'm not going to get a lecture every question I ask. I am empathetic of his situation, but I'm not going to sit here and be berated every question I ask. Either we're going to do this businesslike and get it done, or we're going to go to the judge and ask him what he thinks about it. What do you want to do? I've had it.
Now, Keith, was that your voice?
Yeah, that was me.
Were you like furious at that moment?
No, I wasn't furious. I was frustrated because I'd been very patient. I'm compassionate. Look, the man's lost his granddaughter. I have feelings for the guy. I don't want to make his life hard, but I got a job to do for my client. And he had been rude, and he'd been evasive, and he had been argumentative, and I had been patient, and I had been calm, and I think I had been concerned. But you reach a point where you say, listen, bud, I got a job to do. Enough's enough. I'd reached that point. I'd had enough of the nonsense. And it was time to get down to business and get our job done with. So he could go home and I could go home.
I love that you talked about your client being healed. You know I said that. But I'm a little concerned about George because I'm watching him really carefully. And remember, he was not in a stable psychological state before. He was ready to almost do himself in. And so I'm really concerned about George when he's getting defensive like that or when he's attacked, what's going to happen.
Well, Stacey Honowitz, will you clarify? Because for the layperson, they might say, well, why should he have to answer these questions? Why is it that George and Cindy have to answer these questions? And we're going to find out if Casey herself is going to have to answer these questions now that this suit is going forward.
Well, listen, Jane, in any case, if Casey had to testify, anything that she says that might incriminate her, certainly she has a right to take the Fifth. Everybody knows that you have the right against self-incriminations from the Constitution. In this case, though, George and Cindy are crucial material witnesses as to whether or not this nanny ever existed. So Keith had every right in this world to bring them in and ask them questions to clear his client's name. And I find it very hard to believe. Drew, I like you a lot. I really do. I think that if you are being defamed and if your name is raked through the mud, everybody in this world has a right to litigate a claim that they think is false. And in this case, she lost everything. Her reputation, she couldn't get a job. Her life was in shambles.
Keith,
she has every right in the world to go forward with this suit.
All right, we're going to break. Yes or no question. Keith, are you going to bring Cindy and George back? Are you going to bring Casey?
We have got a hearing to bring him back, yeah.
All right, hang on. More Casey Anthony drama, and we mean drama on the way.